Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Shannon Kendall, and I am with American Crafts, and today I'm here in class to make some fun party things using the new We Are Printmaker tool. If you don't have it yet, you're going to want it after this class, I promise, because you're going to see how amazing it is and how much you can actually do with it. And if you do have it, I hope that you can learn some things today to make it easier for you to get creating and making those things that you can envision when you bought the Printmaker. So I am excited to be here, and today's theme is party. So we're going to do everything for a party from start to finish. We're going to start with an invitation. So this is the little invitation that I made, and I made them in a batch. So I'm going to show you how you can do batch invitations with this printer. So unlike normal printers, it prints one line at a time. So each of these lines I've printed individually, but when you do them in a batch, you can go super quick and it's really fast and super fun. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. Oh, this is the envelope. I'll show you this too. So I even printed on this envelope and on the back to match. So I'm going to show you how we did that. Okay, first of all, I love these pre-packaged cards that you can get at Michael's. They're super fun colors, and this is what I'm going to be using today. And then I also picked up this white cardstock pack. Really versatile. I love this size when I'm working with cards because it's a great size to match with them. Okay, so first off, I pulled out one of each colored card to be my matting paper. So you can see there I cut into that one. That's just something I like to do. So I have paper the exact same color as the base of my card. It's up to you if you want to do that. You could also pull in your own cardstock scraps if you have cardstock scraps on hand. What I did is I just sacrificed one of each color card to cut up cards as I made my invitations. Okay, set those aside. I'm going to use the pink one a little bit later. And then I took one of those white sheets of cardstock and I cut it down just a little bit so that it would leave a little colored border around the outside, just like that. So I cut it down to 5 by 3 3/4. And when I was done with that, I had these two little scraps left over. Okay, so this one I'm just going to throw away or recycle or keep for another project. And then this one I cut down one more time into a 3-inch length by the width of the scrap. And that's going to be the little tag that is here on our card. So you can get an invitation out of one sheet of that white paper. I'm going to set aside these little scraps and we'll get started with printing. Okay, just so you can, I'm going to just put this one right here and set aside everything else. Okay, so let me open my app. Now, hopefully if you have your Printmaker, you've already set up your app on your device. So I'm using my phone. There's an Android and Apple versions, and there's tablet versions, and there's even a desktop version. So they all sync with each other when you create a login. So you just create one login, and then whatever device you sign into, you can access all of the things you've saved and all of your collections that you've downloaded. So right up here in the top corner, you can see this little icon that looks like my Printmaker, and it has a green check mark in it right now. And that means that my Printmaker is connected and ready to go. So one tip I have for you, if your Printmaker is not connecting, make sure it's turned on before you open your app. That way it'll just automatically find it. Then I'm going to go ahead and start a new project. So I'm going to show you a few things from the beginning, and then I'm going to show you how I saved some files to make it faster in the batch printing. All right, so first, I opened to create, and I came into this new blank canvas screen. And right here, this lighter area, that is my print area that I'm going to be designing in. So that is how tall, it's about 1/2 inch. That's about how tall the Printmaker can print. I'm going to go down here to Tools and to Import. There's all different ways that you can find images that you want to print. This way, when you're on your canvas, you can see the list of collections right here and folders that you've stored your projects to. Another way you can do it is from the home screen right here. You can scroll through and see all of these collections in folders. So it just depends on how you like to look for it. And as you get more comfortable with what images are in which collections, it's easier to go ahead and grab one from your design screen. But I'm going to open up this new little collection, Live Happy Life. And I love working with these collections because they are all designed to go with each other. So the first page was clip art. This is patterns. These are repeatable patterns, and I'm going to choose this rainbow gradient right here. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so right from there, I can send it straight to my printer and start printing, but I wanted to work with it a little bit. And so if I want to edit it, I just click this right here on my screen down at Create, and it will bring that image into my design box. Now you can see that there's space below it. Okay, so when this comes in, it's a little thinner than about 1/4 of an inch wide, and I want it the full size of my design box. Okay, so I can just grab those handles and pull it down. And I can also change the size of that length by clicking Canvas and then grabbing that handle on the side here and stretching that out. Okay, and you can zoom in and out right here so you can see better. That doesn't change the size of your image. It just changes your perspective of what you're looking at on your screen. Okay, so I'm going to make that as big as it possibly can, print inside that space height-wise, and then I'm going to bring my canvas size right back to the edge. Okay, and now I am ready to print. So at this point, if you know you're going to be using this over and over again, which is what I actually did when I used this class, I designed a few things in my Printmaker app, and then I used them over and over again on all the different projects. You would just click Save right up there, and you would give it a name and save it to a collection. And that way you can find it again super easy. So this collection I named Printmaker Party, so I could just find it again really quickly. Okay, now we're going to go to printing. I'm actually going to make sure that this is completely filling that space. See how you can see that little white line at the top? Just going to stretch it up a little more. Okay, send to printer. Okay, and I'm just going to print this one time right here. Now you can do it freehand using the light that's on the printer for placement. It will start right at that hard edge of that light that you can see there. Or you can use the print guide, which I really like using the print guide because this is a magnetic mat and this is a magnetic guide. So it holds my paper really straight, keeps my eye steady. So I'm actually going to print this one upside down because I actually like how the gradient looks going this direction better. So I'm going to just print this upside down. And on my guide, you can see there's a 0 right here, and then there's an empty space. And so that's the space where you set the Printmaker down. Okay, now since it's already sent to the Printmaker, I just click the action button on the top, the little play button, and once it turns green and chirps at you, it's ready to print. So you just swipe it across. Okay. Now you can see mine is shorter than this one because I wasn't looking at my notes. So let's go back. I'm going to say I'm done printing. My notes told me that I made my canvas size actually 4.5 inches long. So up at the top, there's a little ruler. There's inches at the top and centimeters at the bottom. I'm going to make this bigger. Let's see how. I'm going to measure this. Now, this mat, you're seeing real-time issues, right? When you're creating. Oh, I did it 3.5 inches. Okay, my notes were incorrect. So I'm going to put this down to about 3.5 inches. Then I'm going to stretch that all the way over. Send it to my printer. Ah, looking better. Okay, I'm just going to flip that over because I'm going to glue this to my card anyway. So it doesn't matter if I use the back. Okay, it's ready to go. There we go. Now it's the right size. Okay, so now we have our first print. I'm done printing, and now I can go over here, and I'm going to show you how to get into things. So this will prompt you to ask you if you want to save it. Since I've already saved this file previously, I'm not going to save this one again, but here's where you could also save it. So before you close out, it'll prompt you to save it, just in case you forgot. Here's my collection Zoom party class that I made right here. So this has all of the files that I've designed preparing for this class. So you can see right there is that gradient that I saved. Okay, so super easy to find. So I did the same thing for these other stripes. So I'm just going to grab this rainbow stripe right here, and it's already sized the right size. So I'm just going to click print, send to printer. I'm going to use my guide again. This way I can kind of judge that 1/2 inch right there when I use my guide. Okay, and I'm just going to line it up to the bottom. Chirped at me that it's ready to go. You can also see how easy it is to do with just the light if you don't have the guide. There's our second stripe. And then for our third stripe, I did a little row of stars. So let me show you how I did that. So there's multiple ways you can get a new blank screen. You can go to Home and click Create, or you can go to File at the top and say New. Okay, and now I'm going to go down to this Tools handle again and click on Shapes. And you can see it popped up this little area right here where I can choose some basic shapes. And that's where I found my star. And just close that. And then I made that star a little bit bigger. And here you can manipulate it. You can change the color. So I did pink first. And then I want a whole little row of stars. So I'm going to go back into that shape. And in these tools down here, there's a copy. So you can see you can just copy, copy, copy all the way across. Extend my canvas a little bit. Okay. Also, for aligning them in a little straight row, there's align tools. Okay, so I'm just going to click on each one and align them centered in my box. As you play around in this app, you'll really get the hang of it fast. It's very user-friendly.
We have a few questions about the app.
Sure.
One, can you access this from a desktop or only the app?
You can access it from a desktop. So you can design on your desktop and then it will sync to your other devices automatically as long as you're logged in into the same login. But you do need a Bluetooth connection to connect to your printer. So if you don't have a Bluetooth connection on your desktop, then you can design on your desktop, then open it on your phone or whatever, and the files will be saved there and you can just connect to your printer and print straight from there.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to change the colors of these really quickly so you can see how easy it is. Now, these are a ton of colors and I usually find what I like in this little picker, but you can also click on custom and there's your color wheel that you can choose custom colors if you want to as well. I think the last one I did was blue. It was that blue. Okay, so there's our little row of stars and they're all evenly spaced. And then I just, again, sent it to the printer. Actually, I'm gonna go back. This one I printed twice. So let me show you this feature. So right down here at the bottom, I have decided that 4 stars is not going to be long enough on my invitation. So I need 8 stars. So I'm going to turn on repeatable printing and it automatically goes to 2 times. You can click on that and you can print it as many times as you want or infinite number of times. 2 is what I need. So I'm going to send that to the printer. Going to position my guide right at the 0 where I want my stars to start. All right, it's ready to go. Okay, so see this little space right here? I'm intentionally making some errors so that I can show you guys how to fix them if it's happening to you. I know I'm going to put a tag right over that, so I don't mind that little space right there. But the reason that I got that space is that my canvas is extending a little bit past the end of that last star. So to fix that, all I would do is come back to my design and bring that end of my canvas area a little closer to that last star. Then that will eliminate that space. If there's space at the end, it'll put space here, which can be helpful sometimes if you just want to type a whole bunch of names and you're going to cut them apart. You could do that, leave some space, do another one, leave some space, and then it gives you room to cut in between. So it is helpful to do that, but that's how you would fix it if you don't want that space. Okay, the base of our card is pretty much done. Now you can see that I got a little bit of printing on my magnetic mat. Well, the cool thing about this is it wipes right off. That's just a baby wipe and it wipes right off. So I just keep baby wipes in my craft room. all the time, just to have on hand. All right, so now we're going to move to the tag, which is going to go about right here. Okay, so let me grab my little pre-cut tag. I had one that I thought I had pre-cut to the right size. Well, maybe not. Just cut it down. Okay. So I just use my scissors and I'm just snipping the corners off. If you have a tag punch, you could use that, but I was using minimal supplies on this project. Okay, so I would just glue this onto here and then work on my tag. Now, this is where you could do things in batches. So I could lay out and do all of the gradient stripe on all of the cards. So if I'm making 10 invitations, I'd print that gradient stripe 10 times. Then I would change my file in my app and pull up the rainbow stripe. Then I'd do the rainbow stripe. Then I'd do the stars on all 10. And that's how you would make it go faster. With the tags, since they're small, you could actually take them and let's pretend this one's another tag, okay, and line them up so that when you're doing this border across the bottom, you could just go straight across the entire border. So I would just put my guide down like that and just go straight across the entire border. So I'll show you how to do that. So I am going to go into my file again and find my confetti border. And I made it the same way that I did the gradient. I went and found a pattern that I liked in one of the collections. The collections all work together really well. There's a whole bunch of birthday ones and all of the colors really feel good together. So these are coming from 3 different collections, these images, but they feel really nice together. Okay, so now I'm going to pretend that that's my second tag. And it's going to go right across the bottom. I'm going to print this 2 times just in case it's not long enough because I don't remember what the width was that I did it. But let's say you could line up tags all the way across as far as you could fit. Okay. And if you're doing it freehand, you could even go further because my 6-inch guide is limited to here. So you could do it freehand and go further. Oop, I waited too long. Better wait for my green light. Okay, and now we're ready to go. Okay, so you can see that that printed easily across both tags. So that's how you can do batches really simply, just lining them up and printing straight across, especially when you're doing borders like that. Okay, so there's our first image. And it's the same as what we did on the background. So that's why I just showed you real quick from my saved file. Okay, so let's design this little phrase right here. Okay, so one of the great things about the Printmaker is that you can customize really anything. So I looked up lists of unique names for girls, and Jovi was one of those. And I actually could have used one of my own kids' names. I have really unique names for some of my kids, but I used Jovi. And so I want to make this really personalized since it's her birthday. So I am going to go in and create. And this birthday right here, I could do it with the font, but there's these awesome collections. I'm going to go to import an image. And they're down here at the bottom. They're called word art and they're alphabetical. So I just went into word art A through C because there's all of these customizable words that are already designed for you and you don't have to do it yourself with a font if it has the word that you want. Okay, so you can grab birthday and it will bring it in. There it is. Okay, so it's all ready to go, except I want to put it's Jovi's birthday over that. So what I'm going to do is reduce the size of this, bring it down as low as I can and still catch the bottom of that Y. So that bounding box helps you with that as well. Then I'm going to go over here and click on, in my tools, on text. And it will automatically bring up this little screen right here. So I'm going to delete text. I'm going to write it's. Just type it like normal. Jovi's. And then I already have birthday. Okay, so when it brings it in, it's going to bring it in right on top of your other one. But you can just grab it and move it. Okay, you can move these around. There's an arrange tool down here that allows you to bring things forward and back. If you're familiar with any design software, that's the same. Okay, so I have it's Jovi's. Okay, but everything's black and that's not happy and birthday. So I'm going to change the colors. So since I was already using these pinks, I'm going to use that pink. I'm going to change this one to, those word arts are customizable, so you can change them, change their colors like that. Okay, now I want to change this font. So how you do that is you just select that image, the font image, where you typed, and up on the side there's a font button, and then it brings up this pop-up with all of the different fonts and an example of what they look like. My tip is to use this. I picked 2 or 3 fonts and use them on everything. That's what I do when I'm doing a party, especially because then everything coordinates. So this one I used Righteous. Then I'll close that so you can see it changed the font right there. All right, now I'm just going to center everything up. And since I want everything centered up with birthday being the center, I'm going to align birthday all the way to the left, bring Jovi's over, and then just use these tools to kind of scale it. And then I'm going to shorten my canvas like I showed you before. Sorry, I feel like my big fingers are blocking your view. I hope you can see. Okay. And then you can center that as well. So you can say center, and it just snaps it over centered in within the canvas. Okay, so that's ready to go. So I will click print. It's only going to print one time, which is what I want. You can use this grid for placement too. So I remember from when I designed this one that it's about 1.5 inches up. Oh, let me show you a little trick. I almost forgot to show you. So a lot of times when I'm designing the first project, especially when I'm batch making, I have a paper desk pad from We Are Memory Keepers on my desk, and I will just swipe the print and cut it out really quick and make sure that I like how it's looking. So this is the one that I did when I swiped and just cut it out on a scrap piece of paper. Then I can kind of move it around and see where I like it. Like you could do all of the parts. Sometimes I'll just test print anyway to make sure I like the color before I actually print it on. So you can see that I've test printed both of those little strips for placement. And then I can kind of see where I need to place my guide. And then from then on, I just use my grid and my ruler to place it. So that is a fun little tip. Just print it on a scrap paper and cut it out, and then you can move it around and place it, and you're not wasting all of your base projects. You can just put it where exactly where you figured out you like it. Okay. Same thing, we're going to print again. The light's showing me it's where I want it to be. Then we have it printed on our tag. So now if I was wanting to print in batches, I don't have to send it to my printer again. Let's say this is my other pretend tag. I can just pick it back up, click the action button, and it prints again. So you don't have to repeatedly send it and send it and send it. Once it's sent to your printer, that image will stay in there until you send another one. So you can just keep printing it just like that. Okay, it's looking good. All right, so did the same thing when I was creating the please come. So I said, it's Jovi's birthday, please come. So I did the same thing. Instead of using an image from those word arts though, I just did the entire thing by inserting text. You find it. Okay, so there it is right there. So I just chose a different font for a little variety, changed the color, and it's ready to print as well. So that's why I would do all the tags. So I would print it's Jovi's birthday on all the tags. Then I would print please come on all the tags. Okay, it's that simple. So then I would just keep going and keep going and keep going. The last image is this little banner. I'm just filling up the tag with printing. So to do that banner, let me get a new file. I imported an image again, and that one is from, let's see where it's from. Live Happy Life again. So I used Happy Cake Day, Live Happy Life, and one more birthday one, Hip Hip Hooray. Okay, and this one was also a pattern. So you could repeat this if you wanted to, but I just wanted it exactly how it was. Let me see what size it is. 1.5 inch canvas. So I'm going to change my canvas. My tag is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to change my canvas size. Also, when you're doing batches, you might want to make notes the first time of what size things are. Helps you just be faster when you're designing. Okay, so then I'm just going to make that fit within that 1.5 inch canvas size. Okay, and it's ready to go. Print. I'm going to print it one time, send it to the printer. This time I'm not going to use my guide because I want it to kind of curve from corner to corner, which you can do really easily freehand with the printer. So it's ready to go. So I'm just going to angle my light from edge to edge. And it just printed right across the corner. So I just angled it toward that cut. And that's how I got it to go up the side. Super easy, super fun. So now we've got the basics down. Then I would just glue this to my extra card that I'm using a scrap, and I would trim it out to mat it out. And that's how I got that other layer of color right there. Okay. The last thing that I did for these invitations was make a customized ribbon. So I did it the same way that I had designed the other borders. It's the same way. So I went in and I found the image that I liked, this dot one, and I centered it in my space. Let me zoom this out so you can see. Okay, so there's a little white above and a little white below. And why I did that is because I'm going to be using the thinnest ribbon. Now this is the Printmaker printable ribbon. It comes in 3 heights. Okay, this is the thinnest one, and it's about a centimeter wide. And it's perfect for just adding little touches. And to do that, I'm going to use a different guide. Set this aside for a second. Okay, so this is the ribbon guide and washi guide. There's also washi in 3 sizes, and we're going to use that in a little bit. Then it has these different guides that coordinate with the different sizes. Since I'm using the smallest one, I'll grab the smallest one. And I just click on to the pegs on the sides. Okay. Then you take your ribbon and you thread it in under the base and up out the other side. Okay. And I'm going to slide this up and actually do it on my desk surface. Okay. And I just like to let a strip go all the way out on a flat surface. I'm going to send this to my printer. And this one, I want it to print infinite because I just want to stop when I run out of desk. So you can print as long as you want until you run out of desk, depending on how much ribbon you need. But since I'm using this throughout, I'm going to print a long strip here. So I'm going to just send that to the printer. Okay, it chirped at me that it's ready. Click the action button. Okay, now I'm going to hold the end of the ribbon right here, but not hold the guide. The whole guide and printer moves as one together. Another trick is that you can take a piece of tape. Let me do it where you can see it. And tape the end of your ribbon down. That allows you to kind of pull and keep it really straight. That's just a little tip I've learned that helps me when I'm doing ribbons. Okay, so then I'll just go across the ribbon. Okay. Now, if I'd put my tape way down at the other end of my ribbon, I could have just kept going and going and going all the way down, right? Then you just slide the ribbon out and trim. And now you have customized ribbon. And I keep these little scraps to use on other things, the little piece that you hold on to. So that's another reason why if I know I'm using a lot of ribbon in a project, that I'll do a big, long strip of ribbon, because every time that you hold it, you have a little bit of an extra bit at the end. And it's white, so you can really use it on anything, but I also like to get as much of the colored custom ribbon as I can. So there we go. And so then I just took it, I made a knot. And added that to my tag. Okay, right there. Super easy. And then for the envelopes, I did the same thing as I did with the borders on the card. I just lined up multiple envelopes and I did one swipe all the way down. Now you can bring your printer this direction, you can print this direction, you can print that direction. It just prints toward the direction of the light. And then I did the same thing on this side. I opened up my envelopes like this. These are those same borders that we used. So there's my ribbon border. Let me scoop these up a little. The ribbon, the gradient, the stripe, and the confetti that's on the bottom of the tag. And so I just used those same files, opened them up again, lined up my envelopes, shoop, across the whole thing to print them. Super fast. I could get about 3 at a time. Then I'd feel like I was like stretching my arm just a little too far. So you find out what works for you. And then you have all of these cute customized invitations. Now, if you wanted to, you could, I added some machine stitching here. That's the last thing that I did. But you could print inside as well the details of the party. So you can just design it the same way as you did the tag and print on the inside as well if you want. Okay, setting that aside and moving to the next party item. How's everybody doing? You keeping up? Okay. I like to give out treat bags, and I wanted to show you guys how you could print on some unusual items. So I have these fun little treat bags that I've designed also to go with Jovi's party, right? So you'll probably recognize these two. These are the stripes that we used on the invitation. And then this is that same ribbon that I used again here. That's why I did a big long piece, because I knew I was going to use it on goodie bags too. And then I designed this little feature down here to go just the same way as I did the text on the other one. So let me show you that file. Okay. So it's right here. Hopefully you can see that. So I inserted, all of these are different text boxes. And I just rotated using the handle to turn those on their side, changed the fonts up, and I purposefully left a space there, like I was talking about how you can purposefully leave a space. This is just those same fonts again. This was a word art, again, that it's party that matches the birthday from the invitation. And these are those same little stars from the shapes. So it's basically the same thing. I just rearranged it, turned them around, and made them a fun little collection of things all on one print. So I'm going to print that on a glassine bag. And then I'll show you how I added the balloon. Okay, so here's my glassine bag. Again, you can do this with or without your guide. I have the guide and I love the guide, so I tend to use it. Okay. And you can do these in batches again too. So I would print on all the bags. Just keep going, print, print, print on a bag, right? Over and over again. And then I would go back and find my balloon. Okay, so the balloon image, when you choose it from its collection, it is in Hip Hip Hooray, and it comes in on its side like this. So you'll see some images that come in this direction. Now, if you wanted it to be 1/2 an inch tall, you could rotate it and do a line of balloons that were up and down that way. But what this does is it allows you to print it a little bit taller than that 1/2 inch. So now your height restriction is on the width of your image. So, and then you'll notice on here, I want to show you real quick before I print, that my balloon here is 3 different colors. Okay, so this is a clip art image, and you can't color pick to change the color of it, but you can do this. So right here, when I click on the shape and I go to more, there's a hue and opacity slider. So I can change the color of the hue. So that's how I got it to pink. That looks kind of purple on your screen, but it looks pink on mine. Okay, then greens, blues. So you have that wider spectrum of color that you can change it to. Let's do one that's pink. Okay, and I'm going to send it to the printer. Okay, and this time I'm not going to use the guide. I'm going to use the light. So I knew that this would be 1/2 inch wide. So this space that I left here is about 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to start printing using the guide, the light on the printer as a guide of where it's going to start, to just slide that balloon right into that little spot. Okay, super easy and fun. So then I could just go back in, say I'm done printing, change the hue again, and print a green one on the next bag. So it's just that simple to do it. And then when you save it, it'll save it whatever color you last used. And then, but you can always change it again or re-import it if you want the original color. You can find the image again and re-import it. All right. So that's how I did that little collection. I already explained all of this, but I want to show you, if you look closely, you can see there's names on these clips. Now you couldn't send a clip through a printer, so I'm going to show you how to do it with the Printmaker. Okay. So here's my little clip, and I measured using my ruler, whichever ruler, how high that is. It's about 3/8 of an inch. So when I went ahead and added in my fonts for the names of the guests, I made them that width. So let me just grab one that I've done already. Okay, so here's Karyana. This is one of our older daughter's names. So it's really unique. She never finds her name on anything. But this way you can personalize things for your guests too, not just for the birthday girl. Okay, so you can see that clip, it's too, if I try to put my guide over it, it's skinnier than the hole in my guide. So here's a little trick for you. I just take a couple of the extra clips and set them down on either end because they're the same height as my clip. Now, those extra ones are holding that up, and I can line up my 0 to where I want it to print and center that inside. And I can double check with my light that it's going to fit on there. Okay, and then just print right on the clip, right on the clothespin. Super fun. So these are actually a really fun collection of clothespins from Michaels. And they are painted and they actually have a coating on them, but I found that the ink doesn't smear. It stays on there really nice. So then that's all I did for the rest of these. I just printed each guest's name. Then you can fill these with treats and prizes, clip them on, and as each guest is leaving, as a little thank you, it just says, thank you for coming to Jovi's party. So really fun, easy way. And then they could use this as a bookmark. They could add a magnet to the back, or if you wanted to add a magnet, then they could use it on their fridge to hold their artwork up. Just such a fun thing to print on, something three-dimensional. Okay. The next thing I want to show you are cupcake pics. Okay. So I'll show you this one. I should turn it this way so you can see. Okay. So we have Happy Birthday, Jovi. And these are using washi tape. Okay. And we get a lot of questions about how to print in white. So I'm going to show you how you do that. So technically, you're not really printing in white. You're just not printing that text. So let me show you how we did it. Okay, I'm going to go in and grab that rainbow gradient again that I've been loving for this project. Okay. Actually, I don't want to do it this way. I'm going to show you how you can do it just using your canvas. All right, so I have my canvas here. And I want to make the canvas, how wide did I do it? 4.5 inches wide. So you just measure how wide you want your strip and then double it and add 1/2 inch for the stick. Okay. So I am going to do 4.5. And I'm just taking this out the same way I've done, extending my canvas on everything up to 4.5 inches. And stopping. Okay. So now I have this 4.5 inch surface that I want to print in color on my washi. So now I'll click canvas, and down here there is a fill color option. Okay. So what did I do? I did pink again. Okay. So pink. Okay. Now that whole background of my canvas area is pink. Then when I add in the text, use another one of my daughter's original names. Her name is Milea. Okay, spelled really uniquely. And that's coming in on the canvas. Okay. Now I'm just going to resize, change my font. This is if you wanted to do it for, if you wanted each cupcake to be individualized, you could do it this way. Let's go back down. Let's do a different font. So let's do, the other one I used was Suez 1. Okay. And then I'm going to select that font again and go to color and pick white. Okay. And that's how you get it to print white. So the ink cartridge, just like in a regular printer, it doesn't have white ink in it. So you can't print white technically, but you can leave a void where it doesn't print any color, and that if your surface is white, that color will show through. So that's how we do it. So all I did there at the end was I scooted it all the way down to the end so that I can fold the tape around my stick, went to print. And this is the medium width washi that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to switch out my ribbon and washi guides to the medium size. And I like to clip my washi because this washi has a backer on it so that you can slide it and not have it stick to the surface. So it's backed, but it likes to unroll off the roll. So I always just do a little clip. Okay, same way as I did the ribbon. If I was doing a really long piece of washi, I'd take it off of this mat. You want as flat a surface as possible if you're doing a really long one. Okay, since I'm just doing one image, this should work. Okay, so you can see how that didn't print, so the white of the washi tape is showing through. Then I would just trim this down, wrap it around the cupcake pick, and then that's how you get this cute little flag. So I did 3 different files. I did happy birthday and then Jovi. I did it the same thing that I did here, but rather than changing my canvas color to a color, I imported a pattern and then made my text white over top of that. So that's how I got that rainbow gradient there. Super fun. So that's how you would do it. So if I was printing on another color, not white, that color would show through. So if you were printing on craft paper, the craft paper would show through that color. So that's how you would do it. Okay, the last thing for our cupcake is we don't want it to be bare. So I just used my electronic die cutting machine and I cut a curved cupcake wrapper. So that's what's going around the bottom here. Oh, there we go, right there. And I want to print on it just so it's not plain white. Now I could use pink. You can print on any color, not white. I just like to show white in classes because it helps you to be able to see it. Okay. Let's go back out. I'm going to find another border that I saved from before. I'm going to use that same confetti border since these are really cute confetti cupcakes. Okay, I'm going to send it to the printer and I'm going to do infinite again because I don't know where I'm going to stop. I could measure this and figure out where I'm going to stop, or I can just stop and it'll stop printing. So a lot of times I'll just switch it to infinite just for speed. Okay, since we're going around this curve, I'm just going to use the light as a guide. Okay, I kind of ran out of space, as you can see. So I would have just kept going right off the end. Okay, and then you have your little cupcake wrapper all printed and ready to go around your cupcake. So it's that easy to freehand it. And once it's wrapped around the cupcake, that was actually pretty good. I did pretty good on my spacing right there, but once it's wrapped around the cupcake, you can't tell if it's exactly the same distance from the top or not, and it looks really great. Okay, so have fun with those cupcakes, doing those kinds of things. Okay, keeping it going. We're keeping on going with our party. Okay, the next thing is I wanted to do some decoration for the party. Okay, I like hanging banners and streamers, and it's so fun with the Printmaker to do it so that you can customize it to the party colors. And also you can see there's one flag in there where I put Jovi's name on it. So this could actually go in her room if she wanted to afterward as a decoration. And this started out as a plain canvas banner from Michaels. So this is what the panels look like. They already have the little eyelets in the top. Okay, and they're ready to go, and they're just plain white canvas. But the Printmaker did all of this design on here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm going to walk you through it first. So this right here, this is just the same trick of changing your canvas color. Okay, so I opened a new one, doesn't matter how big, went in, changed my canvas color. Let's do a teal one. Okay, there's a teal blue, the lighter one. Okay, I'm going to send it to the printer. It's that fast to make a stripe. So I'm just going to go in and say infinite. Okay, and I'm going to do some stripes. We'll do horizontal stripes just coming down. Okay, so I'm going to use my guide again. You can start really wherever you want to. Click the action button until I get a green light, and then I can just print. Now I can keep setting this down, moving this down. I just did it so that it was right at the bottom. But another trick I found is if I just leave my printer there, pick it up and move it, it's even faster because I don't have to resend to printer and click the action button every time. So you don't want to leave your Printmaker off of its base for too long, but since I was going really quick, you can see that that did it really quick. Now that left a lot of ink on my magnetic surface. I can just wipe that up, but you can also use that ink in another way if you wanted. If you had a spray bottle, you could spritz it and pick it up on a piece of paper and you'd get kind of a watercolor mixed media effect. Fun little trick that you could do. So if you have any like artist trading cards or little tags that you want to add a little bit to, you could do it that way really simply. Okay, so there's our stripe. So all of these stripes I did in a similar way. So this one you can see is skinnier. So when you do the full canvas, it's going to be 1/2 inch high. So that's what I did on the pink one. That's what I did on the yellow one. But for these skinnier ones, I'll show you what I did. Okay, so I came over here to tools again, and I went to shapes, and I just inserted a rectangle, or you could do a line. Okay, and now I can determine the width that I want. Okay. Okay, so that's how I got skinnier blue lines, was doing it this way, then just changing the color to blue. Okay, and then I printed it the same way, just on infinite, and just kept printing and moving down and moving down and moving down. This one, with the 3 little skinny stripes, I did in a similar way, but I went to shapes and line. Now you can see it's already kind of a skinny line, but I can still adjust it. So you can make it longer, you can make it fatter. Okay, similar to the rectangle. And so I just copied it 3 times. Made the middle one a little fatter than the 2 outside ones, lined them all up. And then that's how I printed these lines, just the same way. Now these you'll recognize, these are my stars from the invitation. So that same file with the 4 colored stars that we created for the invitation, just put it on repeat, turned my banner this way, or you could go this way, and just printed in stripes vertically. Then for Jovi, did the same thing as I did for the flags. When you're inserting a name onto the clothespin, just added the text. This time I added a little star on one side. Same way, just inserted a shape, and then I just made it infinite printing and printed Jovi all the way down. This is a balloon image that's really cute. You can do it with any of the patterns, just printing all the way down. And then this is that rainbow gradient that I've been loving. And I just printed it onto that same smallest ribbon and then threaded it through. We'll add this last pennant through the pennant. This thin ribbon is a good size to fit in this pennant. Okay, so now we have our banner all ready to go. So it's really fun and really easy to print on fabric. So banners are a really good thing to print on because this ink is not washable color fast. So if I was to put this, if this got wet, it would bleed. And if I put it in the washer, it would mostly pretty much wash out. So to set, if you were doing something on a t-shirt or something that you wanted to set, you would need to do a little bit of research and look up fabric fixatives and treat your fabric with a fabric fixative before you print on it. And then that way the ink will stay color fast. So we might do a class on that sometime in the future. It's not very hard. You just do a Google search and you can find all kinds of information on color fixatives. So that's how you would make it permanent. But for a banner, it's just going to go on the wall. So I don't care about that much. I just printed straight onto it. Okay, I wanted to show you one other idea for a banner. So you can also print on crepe paper streamers, just the same way. I always say if you think you might be able to print on it, try it, because usually it works. It prints on so many different materials. So let's just grab this star since that's easiest. Okay, this is another file I made with bigger stars that I'll show you in a second. And it's the same idea. Oh, let me do a repeat printing. We'll do infinite again. I like that infinite print. So you could customize this really with anything. Okay. I'm just going to move this up and down. Okay, so the crepe paper is stretchy. So it would have been better for me to secure the end like I did with the tape. Okay, but you can see that you can get this fun meandering line. Just put a piece of painter's tape on each side, hold it in place. You can do fun printable things onto crepe paper, and it works on any color of crepe paper. So you don't have to just stick to white. And then you have customized streamers. So if you wanted to put the party goers' names on them, or if you wanted to put the birthday girls' names on them or whatever, you could do that as well. Works on all the different colors. Okay, last project for our party. My kids always loved having a button for their birthday or a crown or something that said, hey, it's my birthday, because we would take them out to breakfast. And so they even had strangers come up and give them like $1 for their birthday before. So they loved it. So we always did birthday crowns. So I found another material that this prints on really great, and it's glitter foam. So these are just those craft foam sheets. It prints great on plain craft foam, but it also prints great on the glitter. So this one is from Michael's. I don't know if you can see that glitter on there. It's just a white glitter. And I just traced out some different crown shapes. Now you could totally customize these for each party goer. You could put their name on it. You already have their name saved from the clips that you did for their goodie bag. So you might as well you could print their names on it so you can keep track of them so that they feel special. And this is the one that I made for the birthday child. So same kind of concept. This is just that rainbow stripe that I used on the invitation. And I pulled up that file again and printed a long strip on ribbon. And I adhered it here, but I also added a couple of staples just to make sure that that would stay on. So that's how you would tie it around their head, right? Okay. And then I went ahead and printed right on the craft foam. So let's do that. Really, you can print anything you want to. Oop, passed my file. Let's do It's My. Okay, so this I just designed the same way. So it looks really big because I did a blocky font as tall as I possibly could. And that's how I got it to be that big. Okay, just sent it to the printer. You can use your guide or not use your guide. It's up to you. Use this one to kind of remind myself where I need to place it. Okay. About right there. And since that foam is long enough, my guide is level. It's really easy to use it. Okay, look how great that prints on the foam. It looks so good. Then I just would go in and find my other file. Now, again, if you were doing these for everybody and you were putting similar things on all of them, you could do them in batches again. There's the birthday. So you could use a word art birthday. This one I wanted as big as I could get it. So I went ahead and used a font. And we have birthday. Then I just added that ribbon across the bottom. Now for some dimension, I took a scrap. So you could get like 2 crowns, probably this size, out of my scrap. And I just went ahead and printed those little stars. I made them as big as I could, the same star from the shapes. So that's my first star border that I did. And then I made this one where they're bigger. And I could have done a 4th one if I wanted all 4 colors. Okay, send to printer. And then I just printed it on the scrap. Then I just took my scissors. You know how easy it is to cut craft foam, right? Super easy. So I just took them and cut them out. And this foam is actually adhesive backed, so it was really easy. I just kept cutting them out and then stuck the little stars on the crown for the birthday girl. So I think this is so fun. There's just so many more things I could have done. Even if we had more time together, we could do even more party things, because you can really literally print on anything, and it's so super fun. So let me show you what we did today. Just a quick overview again. So here's our envelopes and our invitations. We did our cupcake wrappers and our toppers. We did the birthday crown for the birthday girl, our cute birthday banner, Is that everything? I think so. Oh, and our goodie bags. Almost forgot the goodie bags. Okay, so there's everything that we did today for our party. So I hope that you will give Printmaker a try. It does have regular ink inside. It's called the We Are Memories Keepers Printmaker, and it takes a standard HP inkjet ink cartridge on the inside. So super easy to refill. There's even in the app, it tells you what your ink levels are. You're good to go. You can print a really long time. I have never changed my ink cartridge yet, and I print a lot. So I hope you'll have fun with it, and we'll see you in class next time.